What's going on, campers? Campfacer here. Today we will be discussing Gun Media's next video game project. But before we get into that, I want to thank all my camp members for joining the channel and the support. I appreciate that. If you're looking to become a member of the channel, I will leave a link in the description below, or you can click on the members button at the top of the channel. You also get exclusive member-only videos and certain little perks during live streams. Thank you for the support.
Campfacer.
Hey, Reg, you down there? Answer the phone. I hate leaving voice messages. Hey, bitch. Answer your phone sometime. I was wondering if we were gonna still go out dancing. Give me a call back. Bye.
So let's get into this. Before I dive into what I believe Gun Media's next horror movie video game is going to be, I'm just going to let you guys know that this is all just me coming up with this. I want to say I believe the next game is going to be a Halloween game. From past evidence, I dug up, I put two and two together. I've been reading a lot. Other people online have been talking about it too. Wes from Gun Media threw it on Twitter here and there, like little hints, but he never said what it is. This is just me coming up with this idea. So there's that percent that it might not be Halloween. But as a business, it would be a smart move because you have Halloween 2018 that came out already. Halloween Kills, which is coming out hopefully this year in October, they said. And then Halloween Ends. That would be a good advertisement in money cash grab. Not saying that they would make the game just for a cash grab, but as a business, it would get more fans that don't even know about like Gun Media or Friday the 13th to kind of go and be like, hey, there's a Halloween game out. Halloween just came out, the movie. There's a lot of new kids. If you guys, I grew up on the original Halloween, and I'm an old soul, so I know all about Michael Myers, Halloween. There's a lot of new kids out there. Their parents don't even let them watch horror movies. A lot of these kids are coming into Friday the 13th, the game, and they're calling Jason the killer. They don't even know who he is. So, as a business, it would make sense for Gun Media to go this route with a video game. But now my only downfall is, how would it work? How would a Halloween game work? Because My idea would be more fun if they made a Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. It's not as popular as Halloween by any means, but there is a following for that film, that franchise. If they made a Hatchet game, it wouldn't make sense at all as far as being popular, because Hatchet is kind of like, here's Halloween, here's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Hatchet's down here, but it's popular as an underground hardcore horror movie fan. And Kane Hodder obviously is Victor Crowley. He did all the acting in that, so that would make sense that way. But as a business, you want to go up here. You don't want to make something that nobody knows about and take that chance, take that risk. So that's part of why I think it's Halloween the game. But mostly, I want to say because if I recall, Wes Keltner on Twitter a year ago or more, he he tweeted out something about asking John Carpenter if he would ever be into doing music, the score for a Halloween game. And I want to say John Carpenter said yes, 100%. But then it wasn't discussed after that. And I remember back then being like, oh, I wonder if they would be making a game. But then there was another tweet about Wes going in, meeting up with the big boys on a big franchise game. And I want to say he said that they turned it down, and he's like, oh, well, time for round 2. I'm just, if I remember correctly, don't quote me on that, okay? But then, over the past months with the whole COVID going on, Wes was doing this whole diorama thing, like a big model. Like he was building like, I want to say like a 4x6 on a sheet of plywood with like houses for the Halloween, like diorama, like a town. And it was really cool. I was watching some of his live streams. But then I thought to myself, why would he be doing this? Just for fun? Because it's cool to build something like that. Then I thought, well, what if he was doing it to bring it to the gun office so they can kind of use it as a like model, being like, hey, well, what if we did this? Or what if we had somebody going around here and Michael's over in this? What if we place this here and the objective is to do that? Like, you know, it's easier to explain things to people with a model in front of them, or a drawing or a map. Instead of talking about it, you're showing them physical. So I don't know, I'm putting those pieces of the puzzle together here. So a lot of people are coming up with these ideas and throwing them all together. So we did see a photograph of Kane Hodder, which did the mocap in Friday the 13th, the game, in the Gun Media motion capture studio with Gun Media, a recent photo that Wes posted again on Twitter. So we're just kind of putting the puzzle pieces together here. So something tells me, I want to believe 99.9% sure that it's a Halloween game. Again, don't quote me on that, but I believe it is. But my heart is like, it would be great as long as they did it the right way. Now, I feel like if they went the route of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, there's still a big enough fan base there that they would make a killing on it as well. And it would be a little easier and more fun in my head. Like, imagine like you spawn in and there's like 5 or 6 survivors. And then instead of one killer spawning in as Leatherface, you have the whole Sawyer family. Somebody gets to be Leatherface. Somebody gets to be Chop Top. Somebody gets to be Grandpa. I don't know what he would really be doing besides sitting at the table, banging a sledgehammer down. Give me my food. Somebody could be like the sheriff. I can't remember his name. You could drive around and like, I don't know, throw people in the back of the car, kidnap them, drive them back so that Bubba, Leatherface, can throw them on a hook in the basement and start chopping them up for dinner. You could be anyone, you know. It would be creepier and more exciting and more, you know, action going on. A lot of blood, a lot of gore. They could be the jump scares. You could do different like scenarios of maps and stuff. That being said, that would be cool. That'd be fun. Okay, so back to the Halloween. Now that I think or believe it's Halloween, believe, how could it work as a multiplayer game and not get boring or get there's a lot of trolls out there that know how to ruin games. We saw it with Friday the 13th. People were playing it too fast. People were running around the tables, or people were blocking exits and stuff with, or the shack with the car. There was always something that people know how to break. The Halloween movies, Michael Myers, he never runs, he never jogs, he walks, he stalks. That's what makes the game the movie scary. Michael's more scary to me and to you guys than Jason. Jason's a slasher. He's cool, he's badass. He's somewhat scary in some movies, but overall, he's not that scary. Now, Halloween, it's a sting. Like it's stalky. He's scary. He creeps people out. He's sneaky. You know, he doesn't run. He doesn't have a lot of character to, like, when he moves and even when he kills people. He's very slow and he does things really in his own way. How would it work as a multiplayer game? Because Gun Media again said it's a multiplayer game. How would it work? I had some discussion with a buddy of mine back and forth a few days in a row, and he had great ideas. I had great ideas. He corrected me a little bit. I corrected him. Not correcting, but like well, what if he did this? And I was like, well, how would that work? And he's like, oh yeah, and same with me. Like I was like, oh, what if they did this? And he's like, well, how would that work when somebody could just run out of the door and run down the street and get away? Like, what's stopping them from running out of the town? You know what I mean? Whereas Friday the 13th, they're in the woods and kind of like, there's nowhere to really go. I mean, there's a dirt road, but in Halloween, you got Haddonfield, and there's a streets that kind of go every which direction. Why can't somebody just run away? You know what I mean? Like, what's stopping them? Unless there's like motives, like there's no reason for them to leave because they have to get these tasks done. Kind of like, you know, but in Friday the 13th, they're repairing a car to get away because there's only one dirt road out of there. Would it be cool if the game was in first person or third person? Third person's cool to see your character, to appreciate it. But the problem with third person is you can see all around you. A game like Halloween, I would have to say it would have to be in first person so you can't see behind you unless you actually physically turn your character. And it would immerse you into it more, and it would give you that scary feeling. Like, ever play that game PT? You feel like the sounds creep you out and you hear something, you have to physically turn, and sometimes when you do turn, that ghost is standing behind you and then you jump. I've had moments where when I first played that game, I lost sleep and I couldn't stop thinking about those sounds in my head. Could you imagine walking in first person, kind of in the dark, up a quiet stairway up in one of the houses in Haddonfield, and you hear creaking, and you just got to go up and you got to go into a room and find some paperwork for Dr. Loomis, some kind of clues, and you don't know, there's no music to give away that Michael's in there. All of a sudden, you kind of hear something off to the left, and you go over and there's a dark closet, but it's a little open. You can kind of see the black line with the door, and you hear something, and you go to open it, and as soon as you open it, that Halloween sting comes in, and Michael's standing there, and whew, you know, this game could be cool, but then again, sometimes first person, I'm not into those games. Like Dead by Daylight as a killer, it makes me dizzy. You don't get to see your character. So would it be a third person, first person game where you could switch back and forth if you want? But then again, if you do that, you're going to ruin the immersion as a third person. So how does it all work? How does it work? I just love talking about these ideas, like what could be, what would work, and what wouldn't work. What kind of weapons would Michael get besides a butcher knife? Because would that get boring after a while? Maybe you could get the pitchfork. My buddy was saying maybe if you go to the barn, then you can find the pitchfork and swap it up if you want, and then walk away with it. But you have to get to the barn first to get the pitchfork. Or that big sickle thing that you cut weeds down with that he killed what's his name with. You know, what other weapons could Michael get? You know, he obviously he could drive. He can drive a car. Maybe he can run people over with a car. You know, would there be more than one killer? Because you know, I forget which one it was, but there was like the guys with a symbol. I can't remember which one it was. What would be the task? What would be the object of the game? What would you do in the game? Would it be cool to put non-playable characters in the game? I think so. A town like Haddonfield, you would want to put life. You'd want to put some more life, like kids running around trick-or-treating. But then again, you know, putting kids into a video game might give it an AO rating. There might be a big no-no. Shut it down. But you want life. You want families. Maybe you can go in a different, like, not so much open world, but you can kind of venture off of, if you're Michael, venture off into another house and go in and, like, kill a random bot. While there's multiplayer real people playing in the game, you can do that and maybe take the body and hang it up in a doorway to scare one of the victims in the multiplayer game. Maybe you could do that. That would be fun to kind of give the killer Michael some more fun to the game, more killing, make it more scary, more blood, a lot of sting jump scares, you know. What kind of abilities does Michael have? Does he have a morph type of ability to kind of like pop up out of nowhere? Like say he knows somebody's over in this house over here. Can he pull up like a map of the house, and inside the map that he's pulling up on his screen, maybe there's a closet he can choose to go in, because he knows maybe like there's some kind of clue in that closet that somebody's looking for, and he can hide in that closet. But while he's doing that, he's risking another house that somebody could be finding a clue. So he's picking and choosing. So maybe he can hide in there and wait for that door to open and do a choke kill with a stab into the stomach or something. Like, you know, this game would have to be all focused around jump scares, like the sting, like that comes into play, you know, silence until something builds up. It wouldn't be like Friday the 13th, the game. Jason was basically breaking down doors and you hear him outside of the music. So you're aware, you're alert to that Jason was out there. But this game's going to have to be like, you never know when you turn that corner, Michael Myers is standing there. Obviously, he wouldn't do that. He'd just be like, yeah, so we're just here discussing. This is a discussion video. I know it's long, I'm dragging it out, but I want to get all my thoughts and ideas out there, because I would love a really good Halloween movie game. Does that sound right? Movie game. Also, if it is a Halloween game, you have a lot of room for maps. A lot of different maps available for this game. I mean, you got Haddonfield. You got different versions of Haddonfield. You got the hospital from part 2. You got the farmhouse from part 5 or part 4 or whatever. You got the university from Halloween H2O with all those buildings and hallways and different things in there. You got so many. You got the towns. You got the police station. You got the convenience store where the mask was stolen in part 1. Like, that's part of Haddonfield. But you got the mental hospital. You got Laurie Strode's house from Halloween 2018. You have a lot of different variables. Each map might have different tasks and different missions to do. You could my buddy even said there could be a hardcore mode. I think that's what he called it, or a I forget. He came up with a name, some kind of mode where instead of like dying and then that's it and spectating or whatever, maybe you die and you come back, but when you come back you're losing less, like your XP's going down if you die too soon. Or maybe if you come back you have different things to do all of a sudden that suck, but at least you're playing the game, so you're not sitting there being bored. There's different variables with that, like instead of again spectating in like one hero, like the Tommy came back. I mean, I'm comparing it to this if it's played out like Friday the 13th. if you do die, what do they plan on doing with the game? Are you just gonna spectate like that, or are you gonna maybe have something to do, or is that it? You just shut the game off and start up a new match. That's kind of like Dead by Daylight, I think, where you can spectate, but most of the time people just go on to the next match. Friday the 13th, I had no problem spectating because it was kind of like I was watching a movie. I'd watch different people do different things and cheer them on, like, oh, I think this guy's gonna get away. Or sometimes I'd root for the Jason if he had barely killed anybody and everyone's getting away. I'm like, oh, I hope he gets that girl. You know, I hope that one guy trolling him. Hopefully he can kill that one troll. You know, and then I'll laugh. Be like, haha, sucker. The kills in Halloween, the game, I want to say they have to be very brutal, very, like, I think Gun Media knows their limitation now after like all the kills that they did in Friday. I think they might have more room to be like, hey, we can go beyond the limit here and get a little more gore in there, because I would love to see a lot more gore and blood. And I was a little disappointed about some of the kills on Friday the 13th, the game. I kind of wish when he crushed the head, the eyeball crush, I wanted to see that eyeball pop out like in the part 3. You know, I wanted this, even if it came out and it like hung there with the cord attached to the eyeball and it wobbled around a little bit. That would have been funny as hell, you know, like gross, cool, but funny at the same time. The music, the score has to be a big part of this game if it is Halloween. You get to be different Michaels, maybe. I want to say they go through different masks, maybe different builds. Maybe certain Michaels have different walking speeds. Maybe certain Michaels breathe heavier. Maybe different Michaels have different weapons. But it would be cool if he could weapon swap throughout the game. Maybe he goes into a kitchen and grabs a butcher knife, and then maybe he goes down in the basement and grabs a pipe wrench, you know, and just starts like literally crushing people's skulls in with this thing. He uses his hands a lot in the movie. Maybe he can gouge their eyes or put his black thumbnails into the neck of somebody and choke them to death, you know. Is there going to be a little boy Michael, like before he goes to the state hospital, you know? So this game, I'm praying, I'm hoping that it's going to be what I expect or everybody expects out there. I did find out that there is not going to be a Kickstarter backer to this game. There's no Kickstarter crowdfunding. It's all self-funded from Gun, which is really cool because they don't have to hope that they raise enough money. It sounds to me that they're just going to do what they need to do to make this game great. And I believe that Gun Media learned from their past mistakes. I think Wes even mentioned that a few times, like, we know what we did, we shouldn't have done it this way. So they kind of know what they're doing as far as like what not to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, and here's another thing. What can Gun Media do to keep people from trolling the game? If it's a multiplayer game, what can they do to keep people out of private party chats ratting out where like Michael is, or where this person is, telling the Michael player, hey, Laurie Strode's in house number 2 down the street. You know what I mean? Because lately on Friday the 13th, the game, because there's spectating available, people in private party that are friends together in the game, like with the Jason, they can rat people. Like here's an example. The other day, I was playing, and I don't normally hide. I normally repair and get the hell out because I'm a decent player. I don't just sit and hide because you die most of the time. So, for example, I was playing a quick play lobby with a bunch of noobs, and they were dying. Like, the whole lobby, like 3 or 4 people had died in the first 3 minutes. And there was only like 3, maybe 4 people left, including myself. And I was like, there's no way I'm getting out of here by repairing something. So I tried this new hiding spot, and where it was, like normally I wouldn't ever hide in the water because you're gonna die right away, but I just said whatever. So I went to the top of Packanack, not the top, the bottom of the map at Packanack, in the water where the boat exit is, but to the left I went behind these rocks, and I was over near the buoy, and I just sat there, and so that way I wouldn't send off any ping on the map. And I opened up my map, and I saw at the very top corner where the phone box usually is, there was 2 players left, and Jason was there, and he was kind of going around in circles, and one of them died, and 5 minutes went by, and he was still on the last person, and that person didn't die yet, and all of a sudden Jason spawned away, and he landed directly in the water. He morphed all the way from the top of the map all the way to the behind me in the water. I wasn't moving, and he killed me. And I was like, somebody spectating ratted me out. Now, after the match was over, I had to go the extra mile and say, okay, who ratted me out? Tell me the truth. I don't give a shit. It's just a game, but who ratted me out? So I asked the Jason player, and it was a kid, and he goes, oh, it was such and such in the lobby. And I was like, such and such, why would you do that? That's kind of a dick move. Why would you do that? Do I really care? No, it's just a game, but it can ruin it for a lot of people. So what can Gun Media do different in Halloween to get rid of that availability to, if somebody wants to troll and ruin the immersion of the game? What can they do to get rid of that? But spectating is a lot of fun to do. So if they got rid of the spectating, people might want to leave. They have to have something fun for people to do in the game after they die, is my point, without being able to break the game. Do they follow just the killer? Maybe follow just Michael. But if they do that, maybe they could tell their friends that are alive, oh, Michael's in this house. So that would ruin it too. So what can they do? Can they make like a something that you could design your character? I don't know. What can Gun Media do? Do you make them spawn back as a squirrel? It sounds a little ridiculous, but it gives somebody something to do. You can hop around, maybe get extra points for character points, or to level up by collecting acorns. Who friggin' knows, man? Something. They got to give them something that they can do after they die without breaking the game, which is spectating. Spectating is always going to break that multiplayer aspect, So Gun Media's got to come up with something. And I like to talk about this and discuss for ideas. If you made it this far in the video so far, I do want to say thank you for sticking around and listening to me ramble on. I just love discussing ideas about video games and horror movies and all that good stuff. I want to say that's all I have to talk about right now. I sound like Forrest Gump. I really do. Anyways, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. If you guys have any ideas, anything, any kind of idea, if this is a Halloween game, what would be good about the game, what would be bad about the game, what would work, what wouldn't work, what's your ideas? Leave them down in the comment section below, please. Make sure to give this video a big like, a big thumbs up, so we can have YouTube recommend it to more people out there. It helps my channel a lot. It really does. That's all I ask. Just give it a big like. It helps me grow as a content creator. These videos take a lot of time to think about, put together, produce, post-production, equipment, all that stuff. All I ask is just give it a like. And I think that's it. Again, I feel like I'm forgetting something. I know it's going to happen. I'll stop the video and then I'll be like, oh man, why didn't I add that? That was a big part of it, So until next time, if you guys enjoyed this video though, maybe I'll do more of these kind of chatty discussion hangout videos. Whatever comes to my mind, spontaneous, I'll talk, It's kind of like a one-on-one live, but instead of do this recording. Anyways, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel if you have not already. I appreciate it. And as always, campers, stay out of the woods.